answering one of my #1 asked questions, and that is, what GoPro settings do I use to make my POV videos? First and foremost is my resolution. I'm shooting at 2.7K at 60 frames per second in Super View. Now the reason I'm not shooting 4K is because I want 60 frames, and unfortunately you can't do 4K 60 with Super View. As you can see in the example, Super View has a way broader horizon. You get way more in the frame, although it does look a bit distorted or fisheye, and I actually like that effect. I think it sells the first person POV and it has honed my style, so I use Super View. Now I shoot at 60 frames per second. I always edit in a 24 timeline. However, I want the flexibility to be able to slow-mo my footage if I need to. You may not notice, but I do speed ramp a lot of stuff in my POV edits. It's just nice to have that freedom if you want to do it. The only downside we've noticed that me and Colin realize, when you shoot at 60 frames, you are shooting 2.5 times the amount of frames of 24. Therefore, if you are rotoscoping, it's a lot more rotoscoping. That is the one downside. Alright, now that we're going to dive into the settings, first and foremost, you want your Pro Tune on, and these are the settings I personally use. I feel they have worked best for me. Love to hear your comments below, but let's dive right in. So unless I'm going from a dark environment into a light environment, or vice versa, I always shoot manual. If you noticed in my latest video, I went from the bright outside into a dark inside, therefore I had to shoot on an auto shutter. Now if I do this, I always keep the EV comp at a -1. But if I have a constant lighting situation, I always shoot in manual shutter. Now if you're shooting in a super bright day, you're gonna have a high shutter. It's inevitable, but what I do, I highly recommend, is to use ND filters. I use the ones by Polar Pro. They help neutralize the light to allow you to use a lower shutter. Now you always want to follow the 180 rule. If you're shooting at 60 frames, you want a shutter ideally of 1/120. ISO min and max. 100 min, max 400. I always make it 200 in a bright scenario because you honestly want your ISO at 100. You want the cleanest image possible. You don't want noise. So if you're shooting a darker scene on a GoPro and you want to get rid of the noise, I highly recommend downloading a good denoiser plugin in After Effects, and that'll help remove the noise, make it look a cleaner image. White balance. From the get-go, I have learned this. Always shoot manual white balance. I can't tell you the amount of times on a GoPro, on a drone, on my DSLR, I have come back to editing and looked at footage that went from warm to very cool in the same shot. It's not great. So always set your white balance manual. It is a rule of thumb. I usually keep it at 5500, however, you just gotta adjust it accordingly to the lighting and the color of your environment. Now your sharpness, keep it at medium. Don't put it low. Why? Because it's too low. Why not high? It's too high. Now this is probably the most important thing, and that is the color profile. You have two options. You got flat and you got GoPro. So the GoPro color profile is generally for most GoPro users, the people who aren't doing a full-on edit. They just want to upload their dope clips on vacation. And it is good. It's contrasty, it's saturated, so if you're just looking to share with the fam or post it on Instagram for whatevers, use GoPro, it's easy. However, if you're wanting to make it look cinematic, to shoot flat, you have so much more versatility to apply your LUTs and do some color grading to give it your own look and color. My advice on GoPro stabilization is to test out the shot with and without it and see which looks better. I've noticed sometimes the stabilization really helps, sometimes it just kind of defeats it. It kind of makes it look too bouncy or shaky and just looks all... I don't know how this GoPro has still survived. One last thing I almost forgot. If you are shooting any scene that involves going underwater or getting water on the camera, remember to lock your GoPro. All you gotta do, swipe down from the top of the screen, hit the lock. Otherwise, you'll notice if you go underwater, all your settings are gonna get jacked up. It's happened to me, it sucks. Make sure you hit that lock button. And that is a wrap to the GoPro settings I use on my Hero 6. If this video was helpful to you, hit that thumbs up, hit subscribe. Comment below what question you have for me next. I will try to answer it in the next video. And I do have some awesome adventures planned, new videos in the making. If you want to follow on all this, follow me on Instagram at AmirZachary. Come say hi, come hang out. Yeah, let's see you guys later.